Hey, I got a quick question for you. Are you showing up as the expert authority in your business, making sure that your message is on point and your branding is reflective of your go-to authorityness? Hi, I'm Christine Blosdale, your expert authority business coach, and I have a way for you to rate your expert authority prowess. And you can check it out at expertauthorityquiz.com. It's fun, it's easy, and it's something that you really should be doing to see where you level up. If you want to establish trust with your audience and potential customers and clients, you might want to take this quiz. Once again, head on over to expertauthorityquiz.com. That's expertauthorityquiz.com.
Welcome to Out of the Box with Christine, the podcast for conscious entrepreneurs. Are you willing to step into your greatness? Are you ready to shine? Well, get ready, truth seeker. You're in for an amazing ride. And now, here's the host of the show, Christine Blosdale.
Welcome back to Out of the Box with Christine. I'm your host, Christine Blosdale, and I am an expert authority business coach who has a dash of consciousness every now and then. I work with entrepreneurs who are really trying to make the world a better place, and that's the best spot to be. So I am here today with my wonderful guest, Oxana Lovich. And Oxana is the author of the book Abundance. Right? Is it correct?
Yes.
Okay. The subtitle is A Fulfilled Path to Success. She is a Reiki master and NLP practitioner, as well as many things. She's shared the stage with folks like Jack Canfield, I love Jack, John Gray, and Greg Braden. And she's here today talking about one of my favorite subjects, how our subconscious beliefs can keep us from the dream life that we've always wanted, but those little subconscious beliefs are just kind of holding us back. And we're going to talk about how we can get over some of those things so we can have the life that we want. Welcome to the show, Oxana.
Thank you so much. It's the biggest pleasure. And thank you for such a great introduction.
My pleasure. So I hinted there that this is one of my favorite subjects, because I feel that so much amazing things that can happen in the world and the lives that we can be living sometimes are held back and not brought to fruition because of those stories, because of those beliefs that we're not even aware of. Can you talk a little bit about that in the work that you do with your clients?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, I do believe that every single person on this earth, or at least almost every single person, would like to improve life, right? In some areas. But unfortunately, a lot of people feel stuck because it feels like they know sometimes what to do, but they feel like whatever they're doing is just not working. And the reason why it happens, because we're subconsciously programmed. And sometimes we're programmed for limitations, and sometimes we're programmed for success. And we sometimes completely forget the certain beliefs we took into our subconscious mind, because as children, we're not aware of certain things that are happening in our environment because we're still very pure and innocent. And we create certain beliefs which later do not serve us.
Yeah.
But as adults, we forget that we've created those beliefs. And a person can go to 100 workshops. An individual can read hundreds of ritual books and self-help books and may still stay at the same level because they're not working directly with the subconscious mind. But once an individual uncovers what holds them back at the subconscious level and truly transform those beliefs, that's when magic begins, truly, because that's when transformation becomes easy. Because I also believe that it doesn't have to take so long to transform. It doesn't mean that we should stop transforming, but I do believe working directly with the subconscious mind is the fastest path toward success in every area, truly.
And you don't need to be like a monk sitting on a mountaintop traveling with a Sherpa, right? To attain this. This is something that is achievable, and you do this with the people that you work with, right? So
and also about monk, it's actually being present. It's also essential, because I do believe that's why I like wrote my book based on 7 areas of life. I do believe the subconscious beliefs are the foundation. But what you said about monk, it actually like it's also essential to learn how to be present,
Yeah.
because once you master all 7 areas of life, then you will not only achieve success, you also achieve fulfillment. And I do believe that this is the ultimate purpose of our life.
Mm. Now, some of those subconscious beliefs you had mentioned about a lot of those are planted when we're very young because we are so open, right? We are completely open. And can you give us just some examples of maybe I know it's the first 7 years are the first 10 years are probably very important to us as children. But can you talk about some of those beliefs that can be planted into our subconscious mind at that young age when we're so young?
Absolutely. And I'll give you an example that will truly show you how sometimes we are unaware that we create beliefs. So when a child is born, a child is residing in theta state of consciousness. So it's very receptive state of consciousness. And we make certain decisions, or we decide that how life works, right?
Mm.
And let's say we are born in an environment where we see some dysfunctions. Like, for example, I had a client who had, like, her parents were not healthy, like, they were not in a healthy relationships, in quite abusive one. Okay. And she herself, as a little baby, she decided that she would never want to get married. She actually remembered that when we went into rapid transformational therapy hypnosis. And at that time, when she came to me, she was in her 30s and she was looking for a husband for a long time. And she was ready to give birth and commit to family. But every man that she met were not ready to commit, or just, she just could not meet the right person to create family with. Once she discovered that she herself created that belief as a little girl, she transformed that belief and she created a happy and fulfilling family.
Mm.
And there are so many other examples that, for example, my favorite example, like Marisa Pierre, she's my teacher. She is a world-renowned hypnotherapist, and she was working with this man who was studying his whole entire life. So, and he was in his 40s, and she literally hypnotized him, and he saw himself as a little boy. And what he did is he put chicken into the water and chicken drowned. And his father came and he was screaming at him. And after that moment, he started stuttering. And then the mother also said, oh, well, we probably have some genetic stuttering, like probably like our grandma had stuttering problems. And he was stuttering his whole entire life until he actually went deep with it into his subconscious mind. And he worked with many different doctors and nobody could have helped him. And one hypnotherapy session, one rapid transformational therapy session literally helped him to stop stuttering. And it's truly not magic. It's just how the mind works. Once you discover what holds you back, once you commit to transforming it, because it takes time. Because if you've been living with a limiting belief for a while, it will take also some time to embody the new belief and to transform to your subconscious. But once you do it, you can heal you can heal problems that even doctors give up upon, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I believe that 100%. And when you're talking about also the those beliefs that form when you're really young, I believe too that words have great power. And as you're someone who has studied NLP, you understand as well that and I sort of equate it to I've heard this before that they call it spelling for a reason because it's like you're casting a spell, but the power of words. So if you're a very young person and you hear oh, you'll never amount to anything, or you're stupid, or you're this, or you're that. When you're that young, you take that as truth because you're looking at the outside world for truth, right? You're looking at your parents for truth. You're looking at, people who care for you. So if they're saying this, then it must be true. So those stories, and I've heard this time and time again, and I even with the clients that I work with, they're very accomplished, right? They've got degrees and they're very successful in many ways in life, maybe with business, but they're not fulfilled. They don't have that passion, that joy. And I have found with them as well that it was something that happened at such a young age that maybe it wasn't a big dramatic moment, but it was words that were spoken to them that they held on to, and that's how they got their own self identity. So it's extremely important, the power of those words, isn't it?
It's so essential because oftentimes when we do not feel fulfilled, it's because we simply did not create, we do not know how to treat ourselves with love and respect. And oftentimes, like for example, if we were born in a family that didn't show us that we are lovable, that we are enough, that we are magnificent beings, then we criticize ourselves and we scold ourselves. And when we even become successful, it may come from a wrong intention, maybe to prove something, or just we believe that maybe money will make us happier. But ultimately, the lack of fulfillment comes from unattained mind and from lack of self-love, lack of self-acceptance. When you feel you are enough, you feel fulfilled.
Oh, that I believe that 100%. I was very lucky too that I had, especially with the women in my life, my grandmother and my mother, they were always saying how amazing I was and like, you can do anything. You're so smart. You're so this, you're that. And so I grew up, even though I was extremely shy when I was little, I actually grew up believing that I could do anything, because when you're little, you think you could fly to the moon. You can do anything. It's like, yeah, I can do that. And it's only when you go into the structure of schooling and, religion and dogma and societies puts a lot of those pressures on as well. So if you're able to, through your childhood, at least kind of get through, then you've got to deal with growing up and
I
becoming
know.
a I don't know if you have teenagers, but we've done the teenager thing, which is very interesting exercise in patience. But w- can you talk about, even if you do have that strong sense of self and even encouragement from parents, then that next stage of life when you're sort of separated from them and now you have to become this human being on your own, what are some things that you can help guide people with? Maybe people who have teenagers or preteens going through that. What are some things that you can say that would help with the parenting of that?
I honestly am myself, I'm a mother, so I have a very young child. So I would say that be the change you want to see in your children.
Mm.
Because oftentimes when our children behave in a certain way that even like irritates us and frustrates us, it's because they kind of reflect us deeply, or they help us to show what trigger us.
Mm.
Because one time I had this family and they brought their child to an event. And I was like, oh my goodness, why would you bring your child? The child would be disturbing everyone. And it was my event. I say, her name is Zen and she's Zen. Oh my goodness, she was the most peaceful, the most divine child I've seen, of course, after my. And what I want to say is that teenagers, yes, they go through a lot of stages and there are different influences with hormones and the environment. But by being the change, by being a powerful being that they can honor and respect, they will still be much easier to be with. And I do think that a lot of things that teenagers go through will be eliminated because you will become best friends with them. And it's always better to be best friends with your children because, for example, in my family, my sister, she was extremely controlling and she was trying for me to be what she wanted me to be. And separated me from her even further to the degree that I actually ran away from home. But if you become best friends with your children, with your teenage children or young children, you always can talk things out. And you will see how much, like, how harmonious your relationship can become once you become best friends. An
I like that.
example, ultimately working on yourself consistently, because the less triggers we have in life, the more we feel peace and contentment within our soul. Everything in our life suddenly shifts, everything. And we don't have to follow what people say. Like, for example, they say, oh, teenagers are difficult. What if you have a different expectation? What if
Mm,
you say, my teenage children are the most easiest? Oh my goodness. They're so peaceful. They're so intelligent and they're so interested into learning and growing, you know?
I like that. That's reframing as well. It's what what you say, what you want to expect, say what you want to see as well. Are there some, if you don't mind giving our audience maybe some tips on how they can deal with if they do have limiting beliefs about success? Because I think this is really important, and sometimes maybe it's how they viewed success or money. As a young person, if your parents were fighting over the checkbook all the time, or bills, or tax time, you might have a little issue around money and abundance. But what are some tips that you can give the audience on how to maneuver around those limiting beliefs, especially around success?
This is actually my area of expertise. And I also have a present for your audience. If anybody would like to check if they hold limiting beliefs or not, they can go to my website, Quantum Leap to Success, and click on that sentence. Would you like to know if you hold limiting beliefs or not? And they will receive the questionnaires for free, absolutely for free. And they will find out if they hold limiting beliefs about success. Because, first of all, in order to heal any problem, you have to discover what causes the problem. So you have to
Mm,
discover exactly what belief you hold within. And then you also have to observe yourself under triggers. Like, because I do believe strongly, like, if you have hard time paying bills, consistently attract financial losses, if you consistently attract situations that literally make you lose money, then you definitely have limiting beliefs.
yeah.
Awareness is the first step. And then the second is you have to choose your own modality. My favorite modality is working directly with the subconscious mind through RTT hypnosis. And why? Because RTT hypnosis actually helps you to discover things that you may never discover on a conscious level. Because you literally go into the three scenes from your childhood. You may completely forgotten those scenes, but then you're like, oh my God, I've created that belief. And once you realize it, well, then you look at everything differently. The blueberry may no longer look expensive. Ferrari may no longer look unattainable. That's first. But then I do strongly believe you have to continuously reprogramming your subconscious through listening to new affirmations or the new vision, like implementing a new vision into your subconscious of what's possible, and then embodying that vision, like literally becoming the person who can absolutely create success, who is already successful. Because it's so essential. A lot of people who read a lot of spiritual books and they feel like they know all about the structure to become successful, right? But they don't embody it. And when you don't embody it, you don't become it. Because once you truly have certainty, first of all, that you can create absolutely anything that you desire, because if you have a desire, you already have a potential to do it, because you wouldn't have a desire if you did not have the skills and knowledge already given to you by the creator. And then simply embody it. Because I do believe we only live once in this lifetime. And it's better to push yourself a little bit in the beginning and always ask yourself, like, what type of thoughts am I having right now? Are they serving me? If they don't serve you, just change them. I mean, seriously, we are more powerful than we think we are. And
Mm,
I do strongly believe that we can make a choice to transform. And once we make that choice to transform, there will be so many different teachers, courses, everything will be provided to you once you make a decision, once you have certainty, once you start doubting your potential, you know?
Yes, sister. And so much of it is that it's that switch when you're talking about already being grateful for, because we tend to say one day, what, if I had this I could be that, or I wish I was like this person. And again, it's thinking that something has to change other than the fact that you need to own it. Like what you're saying, embody it, right? So, and that's the same thing, not just with success. I mean, with your health, with relationships, all of that, it can change, and it can change rather quickly. I think that's also because we've been, as human beings, told for eons that we don't have power, right? That when
Yeah.
you're born into sin, whatever the whatever religion, and that all over the world, there's different religions that have also really kept people like, you have no power. Things will happen to you, but not that you have the power to create those things that you really want. Because if you give the people the power, you see, they won't they won't be giving you money and giving you up their power to you. See, I figured this out a long time ago, but I got in trouble in school for that for speaking.
That's awesome. That's really great. It's actually very common in Russia. Like I can see, I observed it in Russia as well. So I understand what you mean.
Yes. Sana, so if people want to find out more about the work that you do, they can go to your website, and that's the quantum leap to success.com. We'll put a link in the show notes. I also would really love to, I'll put a link in the show notes to your book, Abundance, A Fulfilled Path to Success. And if they go to your website, they can take that quick little fill out. It's like a form or a quiz type thing that they can do. Yeah.
Yes, it's they can fill out that form. They have to click on that question. Would you like to transform limiting? Would you like to find out if you hold limiting beliefs? And then they will receive 2 questionnaires. And those questionnaires will lead them to discover if they hold limiting beliefs about success.
I love it. Oh, that's so fantastic. Well, let's hope everybody goes there and does that, because we want to make the world an even better place, right?
Yes,
And I think
yes.
following our dreams and our passions, and people actually going after those things and making the world a better place by being happier individuals, I think is just so key. So thank you so much for being on the show today. And again, I'll make sure we include all those links in the show notes. Thank you so much, Oksana.
Thank you so much. It's the biggest pleasure.
Thank you. And I want to thank you, wonderful listeners. If you're listening on Apple Podcast or Spotify, make sure you share this with others. If you resonated with this and you think that someone could really get something out of the show, share it with your friends or your family. And for those of you watching on YouTube, you get to see my beautiful guest. For those of you who are listening and you didn't know that we're on YouTube, you can actually watch the video of this episode on YouTube and share and like as well. Please do that. If you want more information, of course, about the work that I do, you can go to expertauthoritycoach.com. I help entrepreneurs of all stripes go after their dreams by getting the message out on their gifts that they have and telling the world exactly what they do, because we need to know. You can't hide that stuff in a basement. If you want more information about the show, all the podcasts, you can go to that website again, expertauthoritycoach.com. Until next time, as I always say, remember to think outside that damn box. Bye for now.